joining us, Marla, and
Hello.
welcome to Destination Jamaica. So it's 8 a.m. here. You said it's 3 p.m. in your side of the world, right?
Yes.
Great. So, Marla, tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from? What are you about, and so forth.
Yeah. So my father was born in Spain, in Zaragoza, in the north of Spain, and my mother, she's from South Germany, and I spent half my life either ways. So I was raised uh, in in Spain, and then we moved to Germany. I would do secondary school in Germany, and then go back to study to Spain. And right now, I'm working as a vegan chef. I used to live part of the year in community, and the other months I live in Berlin, in the capital of Germany. But right now I'm here on holiday with my partner in Torrevieja, which is in the Mediterranean coast of Spain.
Oh, and you told me about that village. What is it like there in terms of what do you eat, for instance, the language that you speak, and so
Yeah,
forth?
yeah. I would just put the microphone so you don't have a. So here in the Costa Blanca, is the name of this zone, and what is especially famous, for example, is the paella. The paella is a kind of rice dish that you can have with seafood, or you can have a mixed paella, which would include different kinds of meat. You can have a vegetable one. But here, a lot of people eat a lot of fish. And we were talking about the bacalao, the codfish. It's like the Spanish religion. And I remember I shared with you a recipe about the croquetas, which is a kind of a fried fish ball that we used to eat with mayonnaise with garlic. It's called aioli here in Spain, and it's also part of the Spanish food religion.
Yes,
and
I remember. Go ahead.
yeah,
Yes, I remember we had that in common. We call it saltfish. Some parts in the world they call it codfish. You call it. My tongue is gonna twist saying the word. Can you repeat it? What you call
yeah,
it?
bacalao.
Bacalao. Yeah, and you said it's a very popular thing to eat there, and
Yeah. hmm
it's a daily part of it. How do you normally prepare your saltfish or bacalao?
Um, so there are different ways to do like the bacalao. It can be only accompanied by vegetables, like stir fried vegetables. Then we have a dish. It's called bacalao a la tomata. This is like a bacalao. It's made with tomato sauce, and it's also battered and fried, and then you put it after that in the sauce. And there's also bacalao encebollado, which means like onioned bacalao.
Mm-hmm.
And this is we also batter it, fry it, and after that we make a kind of sweet, salty sauce out of onions, and you finish the fish in the sauce. That's a very delicious one. And yeah, the croquetas, you can make them out of everything. You have them with fish. You also have them with the super famous Spanish ham.
Mm-hmm.
It's called jamon.
Mm-hmm.
And only in Spain you will be able to see people walking around with half of a pig's leg, because normally they cut it fresh. So they separate the parts of the pig, and then they smoke it, and they let it rest for sometimes years, so it gets more flavor. And then when there's a big uh,
Mm-hmm.
party or a big family celebration like Christmas or something, normally one person brings jamon serrano, it's called,
Mm-hmm.
and you cut them with a.
Hello.
Yeah, I just received a call.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Am
Well,
I
that's
back?
yeah, no problem.
Yes.
Well, as I mentioned to you, the food sounds tasty in Spain. I mean, as you know, we prepare our saltfish with ackee. We have it with other dishes as well. We have it with saltfish and beans, saltfish and callaloo. So it's something that we love in Jamaica. And also, I'm happy that we have that shared experience. That's one thing about talking to people from different countries. You get to learn what you have in common and also get to appreciate differences. So, could you tell me what a typical day is like for you in your country? And your camera is
Mm,
off. I'm not sure if you noticed.
is it done again?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this was because the calls
Yeah.
entered. So for most people, the day here starts with a coffee, and normally the bars in Spain they open quite early. We have one just down here; it opens at 7 a.m. You know, in
Mhm.
every village, it doesn't matter in Spain if the village only has 25 people. There's always a bar.
There's always a
Spain,
bar.
yeah, Spain. You will walk through each and every village here, and there will be a bar because this is the social center of Spain. Whenever you need to speak someone, whenever you want your coffee or whatever, you will always go to the bar. The people will know you. You have your social interactions there. It's very important for the Spanish tradition and also how people relate to each other. Normally, you would always meet at the bar, and so here, most people don't eat maybe up to around 9, 10, or at home they have some cereals. And normally you have a coffee with some cookies. This is very Spanish. And then here at this zone in Spain, for breakfast, normally you have a tostada, which is a toasted white bread, and you
Hmm.
put tomato on it, like freshly ground tomato with salt and pepper and olive oil. And after that, you put a lot of olive oil on top of that tostada. It's really delicious, and the olive oil is very good.
Sounds great. So after you get your breakfast, what's next?
So, what?
After breakfast, what do you normally do after
Ah,
that?
so for me, now I mean I'm here on holiday, but then normally I would start to work. And in Spain we have a special like horario, you know, our schedule because not for most people work starts from 9 or 10 to 1 or 2, and
Hmm.
then we have a break. It's called la siesta, and it's always around from 2 to 5. So the shops close, so people can stay at home and rest because we
Oh,
suppose that we eat a lot and after that we need to rest. So
oh,
most of the shops close during midday.
oh, that's pretty awesome. So you work from 9 or 10 to 1, get a break from 2 to 5. Jamaica,
Yes.
are you listening?
And then you start again to work from 4 to 8 or something. Uh,
Oh, hmm.
most people like it to have that break, but for some people it's like I, for example, I prefer how it's in Germany that you work from 8 to 3 or something, and then you are off. And here you have the break, and after that you go to work a day, but also somehow it conditions your whole day.
Okay. I love the sound of that. I mean, I always fully support us working less to have more time for life,
Of
and
course.
not actually affecting the economy or anything. Still being able to be super progressive, but also being able to take care of ourselves because we are the Earth's biggest resource. If we should think that, take care of the Earth and take care of our bodies. But maybe Jamaica will take a page from Spain's book. Now, the other question I have for you, the light might go because it's a rainy day today and it's coming in and out. But let's see how many questions we can get in. What are some of the unique Spanish customs or traditions that you would like to share?
Oh, well, there are a lot. We just now
Mhm.
had a very strong tradition, you know, when the solstice starts, and normally it's around the 24th of June, the official beginning of summer. here in the zone of Spain, we have what we call the Hogueras de San Juan, and it's a traditional burning, a fire. We set up some wood and burn a big fire on the beaches, and it's kind of the awakening fire of the summer. And yeah, so this is what is happening around these days, and sometimes also they have traditional music with it. Yeah, so this is one of the very traditions. And
Mm-hmm.
then there are a lot of traditions that are accompanied by Christian religion, like around, for example, for Easter, there are traditional marches where they uh, throw candies and they have like a traditional music accompanying it. I personally don't like it at all because the customs they wear, they are quite similar to the Ku Klux Klan customs, you know, and I hate it. I always think like in some ways Spain is still too traditional because if we would do that, for example, in Germany, you could never do that, even if it's just similar, like
Mm-hmm.
pointing out to a movement that's politically so horrible. You couldn't do that.
Oh,
In Spain,
okay.
it's related to Christian religion, and but still, I don't like it. I don't like the customs they wear.
Yeah.
Uh,
That, that's understandable. And speaking of Spain, as you know, we were once colonized by the Spanish. So we're learning. I'm not so sure how many Jamaicans will feel that way when they think about that and so forth. But should
yeah.
we visit Spain, what are the top five things you would recommend for us to do?
Yeah, so you know, this is like one thing that what I just mentioned is a very old tradition in Spain, but it has nothing to do with this. And now people here are changing a lot, especially the young people. And so Spain is one of the most open countries in Europe when we are so welcoming, not only to the fact that Spain colonized a lot of countries, and Jamaica was also colonized during a time, but especially Latin America. I think it leads us now to be really one of the most open countries to these people. In fact, there are a lot of Latins and other people from Europe around the globe living in Spain, and it makes it a really multicultural um, country. But also within the Spanish society, there have been people like little groups that were like Aboriginal Spanish people, but at some point of our story, they were like excluded. And now they have a very special paper, and they are very much more considered. And left wing's politics is doing quite good now in reconsolidation of these processes because until 72, Spain has been, ¿cómo se dice? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
una dictatura. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Franco has been one of the dictators of Spain, and he was vigilant until 72.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's really it's a great place to visit. I mean, there's so many nice things you can do in Spain. Like the first thing you need to do is just to enjoy the Spanish food, the Spanish tapas. You can get them everywhere, like in different forms, because each region has their specialities. But one thing that definitely is one of the experience for that many people come to Spain is our culture food.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have the Camino de Santiago, which is one of the most ancient walking paths, um, a pilgrim path. Many people do from all over the world. It's 700 kilometers, and it goes from Saint-Jean-Pierre-du-Pont, which is the south of France, where the Basque people share part of Spain and part of France. And then it goes to Galicia, which is like the northern point of Spain. And there you finish your pilgrim at Santiago. So this way is called Camino de Santiago. It's
Mm-hmm.
one of the top Spanish visits, I would say.
Yeah.
Another thing are the Spanish islands. We have the Baleares, which is the island group of 3 islands. Mallorca, Menorca, and Ibiza. They are very, very popular because it's one of the most beautiful seasides you can see in Europe. And also the Canary Islands, which are on the height of Africa. This is
Mm-hmm.
also, I think, one of the top things you can do here. And of course, visit the south of Spain, um, Andalusia.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very unique architecture, and the houses and the villages are really amazing because Spanish culture grew out of Christian culture, Muslim culture, which we call the Moros in Spain, and also Jewish culture. So in each and every place, you have these 3 different cultures that influenced in our behavior, in our development. Like thanks to the Arab people is why Spain got so developed in terms of water canalization and all these things.
Oh, that's pretty interesting, and it's good to know that Spain will welcome us. One of the things that people worry about traveling, especially as a black country, is, racism and not being able to have a great time due to whatever biases and prejudice. So it's good to know that we'll be welcome there and we have so much we can do. I also see that you have beautiful beaches.
Yeah, it's a lot, and we have access to the 2 oceans in Europe, like the Atlantic. It's on the north side of Spain, and then you have the Mediterranean, which is the other side where you go more towards Italy and also the Arab countries. And
Hmm.
actually, Spain is very close to Africa as well. So in the south of Spain, there's a place called Gibraltar. This is interesting because Gibraltar was occupied or still is occupied by English people. So it's half English in Spain. I think the official language is English, and you also have to pay with pound. And from Gibraltar, from this part of Spain to Marruecos, to Morocco, it's only 30 kilometers. That's why also in Spain we have a lot of refugees coming. They look for a new future and come over or to the Canary Islands or to Gibraltar. They come swimming, some of them. It's really, and there are several organizations that take care of them and really catch them up and give them a place. Just like Greece, Spain had to deal during a long time with a huge amount of refugees coming from Africa. So it's, but there's a very, very open posture. We try to give everyone a home, just like Greece does.
Hmm.
But yeah, this is something political that has to do with the Northern Europe countries, because generally in Europe, people know that there's a huge difference between Northern and Southern Europe. Like
Hmm.
we, the Southern people, Mediterranean people, are considered the poor ones.
You
And
can.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, sounds like I need to do some reading on Spain. It sounds pretty interesting. Thanks so much for sharing and taking the time for sharing. I'm seeing also that you have a park called Laura Park. Is that like a underwater park?
Which one?
Loro Park.
Loro?
Mm-hmm.
I
Laura
don't
Park.
know.
Okay, so that's a possibility. What's the currency as a tourist? What's the currency we would use there?
It's euro. Like in all Europe, you would use euros,
Mm-hmm.
but you will be surprised what you get for an euro in one place and in another. Like for me, always the best example is coffee.
Yeah.
Because for Spanish people, having a coffee is not about having a coffee; it's about having a talk. So, whenever you want to meet with your friends, you say, "Vamos a tomar un café." So you want to go to have a coffee. And before we changed to euro, coffee was maybe 50 cents, which is half of 1 euro. But then when they changed the currency and made everything equal in Europe, Now a coffee here is 150. In Germany, for example, coffee is 3 euros. So there you also see reflected like the difference of wages we have in the different countries. Spanish southern countries have less income than the northern countries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how is the cost of living there?
Um, I could tell you maybe, so let's say a normal Spanish income if you work full time could be $1,200.
Mm-hmm.
And in euro, yeah, maybe 1,200 up to 1,500, depending on what you do. For example, in Germany, as a mechanic or something, you will earn 3,000. So it's
Oh,
double what you earn. And the costs of living are also cheaper here in Spain, but they get more expensive in the last years. It's a real problem we have here.
so that's about 200,000 Jamaican dollars, and so the general or the average will be 1,200 euro for
Yeah,
pay. And what's like, how much does it cost to rent and food, like general prices?
yeah, this one, it depends a lot where you are.
Mm-hmm.
But most people in Spain they buy a flat at some point. They rent some money from the banks and then they buy a flat because on long term it's cheaper than renting one. But
Mm-hmm.
you can get a flat depending on where, because Madrid and Barcelona are completely crazy. They really got what we call gentrificado, so that a lot of people from foreign countries, Russia or Northern Europe, come and rent out places for double price, and that's what puts up all the prices. And
Okay.
so you can still get a flat for 300 euros a month, for example, 400, one room apartment.
Oh, 400.
But you
Wow.
need, it depends also where you are. In Andalusia, for example, the prices are lower. In the Basque country, which is on the border to France, you
Mm-hmm.
pay more. Or in Catalonia, it's also more expensive.
Okay. I mean, based on the pay that you normally get, 300 euro, that's about 50,000 Jamaican dollars. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be expensive for one room. It's about that price in Jamaica, depending on where you are. Kingston is very expensive. Some rural areas aren't. You can get a one room for $30,000 still, Jamaican. Um,
Hmm.
what about the food there? What? How much do you need to buy like a month's worth of food or a week's worth of food?
I think you can make it work out with 100, 200 to 300. But I'm a little gourmet.
Mhm,
I like, which means one thing is that you eat food for surviving, and one thing is that you appreciate food and you want to have a kind of variety. And this is also a huge problem in the last years that the food got more expensive. Spanish love to eat. But the other day, when I bought the fish for a cooking class, which by the way was absolutely amazing,
mhm.
um, it was expensive. It costed like €9 for 300 grams. It's a lot for a Spanish person. This would be 9 coffees.
9 coffees. Right?
Yes. So, yeah, it depends. So, this means that people might not be able to eat fish every day. And rice and let's say, the basic elements of nutrition, they are cheap.
Mhm,
But when it comes to fish or also cheese, Spain is very, very famous for its cheeses and also for like the smoked meats you put on bread or you have them with. Although I have to say I don't eat meat. I eat fish once in a while, but I don't eat meat. But in Spain we have a big tradition for what is called embutidos. The
mhm,
embutidos, they are different kind of meats that get smoked, and then you slice them, and you have them with something like with eggs or on bread. Just
mhm,
like I said, the jamón cerrado, If you
Hmm.
put the picture of this somewhere, everybody will know that you are talking about Spain.
Okay.
You only have it here.
Oh, so 300 euro, $50,000 should be able to get us some good groceries for the month, right? In
Yes, for a
Spain.
month.
So if we should come to Spain, how much do you suggest that we should budget total for like 10 days
For 10 days?
vacation? Yeah.
With or without the flights?
Yeah, without the flights.
Without the flights, it depends a bit where you want to stay, but I would have for a budget and for sleeping like 30 euros a night. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be 300.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on your needs of food, I would calculate like 20 euros a day, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
bit more if you want to enjoy and try out some different Spanish drinks in the evening. But you with everything of this, you can also really go budget and enjoy the time, because maybe you remember last time I shared with you that there are places in Spain that if you go to a bar, which will be your first place to go, and you will have a drink, then you always get the little tapa, which is something to eat for free. And many people, they go out to have tapas. Vamos a tomar tapas. And then they have like 3, 4 drinks and they get the food with it. And that's enough for a good dinner. Because in some places you get a little place of rice, you get a piece of tortilla, which is a potato egg omelette, and you get good food. So you don't need to buy extra food. You only have your drinks and have the tapas with it.
Okay, that's great. No, thank you so much for sharing. Since we're both having internet issues, we have to cut the interview short, but we can do a part two possibly when the internet is better.
Yeah,
Because I have
please.
much more questions to ask you about. You said you want to come to Jamaica and
Yes.
you wanted to do that part of the interview, but we'll do part two. So thank you, Marla. I hope the viewers enjoy and learn from this interview and look forward to part two.
Yes, and if you want, you can include questions if people have for the next
Yeah, for the
part.
next. Yeah,
Okay.
awesome. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Bye from the
Bye,
Sol de España.
Marla. We'll talk soon. Bless up.
Bye. Blessings.